if you got some drive or something,
it's a
like
drive,
that,
it's a hard, it's a work effort.
Content
like at staying at home or just staying at home and having your feet up like, hey babe, I'm gonna get a job one day. No, now that to me,
I keep it bouncing. I move the mountain, man. Waving these town pants.
Let's move on to this next one.
Ooh, this is good right here.
And I'm gonna let Jermaine open it up.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna chime in.
Okay. Hold on, real quick.
You want me to say the title?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're talking about bringing something to the table. So, Jermaine, when you kind of slotted that down as our topic, where were you kind of going with that?
So, where I'm going with that is like, somebody, one of our subscribers, actually raised the question. They were like, "Okay, what are you feeling? What are your feelings on bringing something to the table?" And so there's a lot to unpack there, because bringing something to the table is different for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But how do you get, one of the things I think about is when we talk about bringing something to the table, where do we get those expectations from? Do we get those expectations? Some people get those expectations from seeing their mama and their daddy, you know, being married. Yeah. So they come to a relationship with some expectations as to what needs to be brought to the table.
Yeah.
And then some people, you know, didn't get to witness that.
Yeah.
And so they have to make up what needs to be brought to the table.
And so then you even can go a step further and saying, okay, well, if they're making up what needs to be brought to the table, where are they getting those expectations from? So that's where TV comes in.
TV, social media comes in.
Social media. Yeah. Friends, experiences, you know, just different people pouring in with their 2 cents, you know. So when you brought this topic up to me, you know, I was just thinking, when it comes to bringing something to the table, like you said, that's going to be different for everybody, because everyone's expectations are not going to be the same. You know, you're going to have some people, and I think it's based on your values, maybe where you are currently in life. It could be based on your age. It could be based on your personal accomplishments thus far. It could be based on your vision of where you want to go. It could be a combination of all those things, right? But for some people, it could, you know, you hear some people say, oh, well, he has to have a job. He has to have his own car. He has to have his own house. He has to make this amount of money. He has to do this. And I'm saying he because, you know, I'm coming from the female perspective. But I just think it really depends on where you are now, you know. And I know we've been together forever. Since teenager. But even as a teenager, you already knew what my first question was. My first question is always, are you saved? Because for me, I'm like, listen, if you don't have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ for yourself, there is not, you can't lead me anywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm sorry, I was all distracted with the chat. But listen, I want to talk to you about that, because see, look, first of all, I think one of the things we need to understand whenever we talk about going into a relationship like a marriage, I think one of the things we need to wrap our minds around is this idea of partnership.
Yeah.
It's not a you against me versus you and you against me.
Yeah.
It's a partnership thing. This is a us thing. You know what I'm saying? And I think so many times we go into marriages like, oh, okay, well, you know, this is mine, this is hers, and, you know, I'm going to make sure that, you know, they're not doing better than me. Well, hold up, because I done actually heard some folks say stuff like that. I'm going to make sure that they're not doing better than me. Wait a minute. Is you married?
Yeah, because it's supposed to be one unit, right? So like if one spouse is doing well, that's representing the entire household or unit. You know, like you want your spouse to do well. You want the person you're with. To me, what it boils down to is you're going to have to complement my life. You're going, you know, like add something too. If I were to be, you know, speaking to singles right now, I would be saying, you know, that person should be able to add something to your life, because if they're going to be a burden or take away from or lead you away from where you're trying to go, then you might as well, be by yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
definitely doesn't complete.
Yeah.
Definitely, we don't believe in, they complete me. Listen, if you're waiting on somebody to come along and complete you, if something happened to them, that means you come a half person again.
Right. So we know that our completion falls in God. Because if you look to any person for completion, you're always going to be let down. I mean, even even with the best intentions, even on their best day, it's just that we're human and God has to complete you. You have to be complete. You have to come. It should be 100% me plus 100% you equals 100% unit. Not 50-50,
Yeah. And so listen, I think that oftentimes, we've been together so long, we're not old. We're oh gosh, I had to say it. I'll be 40 next month.
Well, but you're not 40.
I know.
So you don't have to say what you're gonna be. You can just say, still count the 30s.
Yeah,
as y'all hear, I'm feeling some kind of way about the 40. But it's a blessing. Every year is a blessing. I don't want to say that. And 40 is still young. 40 is still young.
It's still young. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I still feel strong as a knot. You know what I'm saying? But listen, but for real. We've been together since we met when we were teenagers. Mm-hmm. We've been married since I had just turned 23. You were 21, about to turn 22. Mm-hmm. All right, and so but before that, we were courting for 4 years?
Well, 5.
5 years before that. All right, so
that's because we were so young, because we were teenagers. Yes. So by the time I graduated,
we've been out the game for a minute, and so when we talk about, listen, we come from a place of privilege. All right, we don't know what it's like out there in them streets. You know what I'm saying? Them streets.
You talk about the dating world nowadays.
Yes, the dating world. And so, we didn't have to worry about social media.
Because you didn't really have,
it
I don't even think, did they have dating sites back? I don't know.
Yeah, they did.
I don't remember.
Yeah, they had some. They had Black
But
Planet,
it's come a long way.
And all that stuff. Huh? Yeah, it has come a long way. But listen. But see, so we come from a place of privilege. But see, this is what I want to do. I want to pick your brain. I want you to narrow down for me. Tell me, what are your thoughts on some of these issues, or your thoughts on these questions I'm gonna present to you in modern day time. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, don't make it sound like we were together.
Oh yeah, okay. Look,
cave days,
in 2021 stuff. Okay. Listen,
modern day
2004 compared to 2021 is a whole heck of a lot.
Back when we met, the dinosaurs were crossing the street.
We don't mean it like that. Yeah. But anyways, so listen.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you. I appreciate that. He said 40 is very young. Embrace it. Thank you. Even though I still have some time. I'm not in the 40s club. I still got a couple years.
Yeah, she got a couple years. She got a couple.
Well, I guess
she ain't far behind.
I guess a year and a half, if you think about it. But anyways, yeah. But thank you, though. That's encouraging.
Yeah, we appreciate it, bro. But listen. My question to you is this. Okay. Oh wow, this is a lot. Okay. Education.
Okay.
Do they need to have a degree?
Do they need to have a degree? Like a college degree?
Do they need to have a college degree?
This is what I've learned, Jermaine.
Okay.
And this is coming from me. And I value education.
You have evolved.
But I'm saying, I value education. No, I mean, I think I've always been in a place of I've always valued education.
Definitely come. You've changed a little bit, I think.
Well, this is what I'll say. This is what I'll say that I've learned. Is that you can still be very knowledgeable without necessarily having a college degree. You can still have, you have some people who are just lifelong learners who love to read and study on their own. I've seen some very educated, I'm not going to use, I don't like that word, foolish, I'll say. I don't like to use the other term. People, who are not wise.
Oh, I say it for you.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Some educated.
Don't say that. No, don't say it. Just people who act foolish. Okay, I don't like. So, the whole degree thing, because you can be degreed, but like I said, this is for me. So everybody's criterion is going to be different, right?
What do you call a man that says in his heart that there is no God?
You know what? So anyways, y'all can answer that.
What do you?
I know the answer, but because I was taught, y'all probably like, what's going on here? My mom just raised me like, you don't ever call anybody a fool. Don't ever say that word. So I was raised like, that is just a forbidden word. Don't call anybody that. So, but like I said, I've seen some people who can have a college degree but still just be so blind to the ways of God. Sometimes you have somebody.
You're so nice.
But I'm just saying.
You're so nice.
I'm just saying, because you have some, you can have a college degree, but if you don't have that to me, and this is me, that relationship with Christ really is paramount. That's the first thing, because you have to lead me spiritually. If you have all that book knowledge and a piece of paper that shows that you have that book knowledge, and I'm not negating it, I have a master's degree. I love education. I'm a big advocate for education. But what I also realize is that it's not the end all be all, that college degree. So you can have someone who is very knowledgeable, loves to study on their own. And like I said, being, smart on current events and things like that. And most importantly, the word of God. To me, that's more important than if you can flash a piece of paper, but you don't know how to treat me. That's another thing too, because I've seen some people who have a college degree. Matter of fact, some people can have a doctorate degree, but they're not good mates because they don't know how to treat their spouse. Wow. So yeah. I don't think that degree should necessarily be a factor.
All right, and so we got a lot to cover, so we're gonna have to move a little swift right here. But listen, Robin Alfred says it isn't necessary, but if it becomes a problem, then one should do a bit of
introspection.
Education is usually a personal pursuit. Yeah, amen. So
thank you for chiming in, Robin.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Sure enough. Okay, listen. Okay, so you already did the faith. Now we're gonna talk about, so how much money do they need to make? If they come to you and say they didn't work their way up the ladder, right?
This is just
they the manager at Mickey D's or McDowell's.
Okay.
We ain't gonna say the other. We're gonna say McDowell's from Coming to America.
Okay.
All right. And they the manager and they make about say $32,000 a year. Is that a deal breaker or no?
You know what, Jermaine? I guess it goes back to what you were saying. Maybe we are. I don't want to say spoiled, because these are questions I never even I guess in my mind, it's like you want to build with somebody who can grow with. I never even thought, and I guess I wouldn't as a teenager, because you didn't have a real job when we met. I mean, as far as our age, we were young teenagers. But I'm just imagining if it were now, I don't know. Are these questions that people ask each other now? Like, what is, because your income can change, y'all. Like to me, that is so temporal. Or as our pastor loves to say, temporal. I love the way he says it. It's so temporal. I mean, this is what I'm saying with that. They could be making six figures when you meet them, right? Okay, so are you telling me that if I get with you and it's contingent on your salary, what happens if for some reason they become ill, they lose their job, they get laid off? I mean, does that mean that my love for you changes? Does that mean we can no longer be together? I just don't think that is I don't know if that's the wisest thing to base it off of. I just don't. That's my opinion. Because that can always change. And on the flip side of that, they could come in, y'all could meet 32,000, right? And then y'all are together and they keep going up the corporate ladder or whatever, getting promotion after promotion, they can end up making six figures. So I don't think it should be contingent upon money. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean that if homeboy ain't working and not even trying to get a job. Now listen, you have to bring something. Look, going back, are we still on that topic? Is this the same topic? Oh, same topic. Look, we done covered so much. I'm like, where are we at? There still needs to be some effort. I need to see you're a hard worker. Now, if we were talking about that, I do need to see you're a hard worker. As a woman, I would want to see that my man is going to serve as a provider. Even if I still have my own career, I just need to know, and even if there comes a moment, like I said, because medical things happen, situational things happen, there may be a time where maybe are you okay with pulling in the income for a season? Well, maybe the husband stays at home and watches the children for a season. These are just things you have to think about, but does that make or break your relationship? You have to look at the foundation and those things that are really the core of your relationship, and not those things that are temporary, that could change. Because if that's the case, you gotta be bouncing in and out of relationships, and that's just not healthy.
No, it's not healthy at all.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. So cool. So listen. All right. Yeah. Look, now listen. That's cool.
Because I'm like, are there because you just got my mind going, like, are there applications out there now? Like, hey, I need to know your income, your social security number, so I can do a background check. I need to know. I mean, is this what's happening nowadays? Y'all chime in. I obviously don't know. I guess I'm out the loop.
Yeah. But listen, you got chicks out there like, listen, if you don't make 6 figures or more, I can't date them. Yes.
But then you look at it like, are they really after the man, or are they after?
They're after the man and security and all of that.
But what they can do for,
but what happens if the man?
That's my point. Because I'm just saying, I would feel like, do you really love me, or are you just loving what I have?
Right. Yeah.
That just seems so conditional. Or what I can do for you. It just seems so conditional. And then, like I said, let something happen. Like, I'm thinking about, and this wasn't even the case, and her in this movie, The Diary of a Mad Black Woman. But remember how he was like, he had all kind of money. Remember, very successful, but then he got sick. And she wasn't even after him, but remember that one that was, I guess I can relate it to. Remember that one the one that he was having an affair with and left the wife for, but then as soon as he got sick, that the one that he left the wife for was nowhere to be found because it was all conditional.
Yeah, so it's safe to say, hey, listen, so money is, I think the answer to that question is, as long as I see some potential, like, okay, you can make a certain amount, but it's, if you got some drive or something, it's
a drive, it's the heart, it's a work effort. Like at staying at home, or just staying at home and having your feet up, like, hey babe, I'm gonna get a job one day. No, now that to me would be, I can understand that being a deal breaker if you don't see any effort. Like if you're talking about, I just can't find nothing, but you haven't put in any application and you haven't pulled up any postings, and that's a whole nother conversation right there. But okay, so cool. So we got that. So education is, we already got, okay, then it's not necessary to have a degree. The money, we talked about that. Faith, we talked about that. Okay. Does he need good credit? So this is stuff. I'm just saying, like, it kind of all falls in the same boat for me. I just feel like I'm kind of being redundant. Like, yes, good credit is important. Yes, good credit helps as you're trying to build your future, right? You're gonna
what if he has bad credit?
Well, is bad credit repairable? Yes. And then someone can also have good credit and it can go downhill if they fall into some kind of financial bind where they have to start maxing out all their credit cards and not being able to afford to pay it. Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, so that to me can also go either way. I guess it just comes down to,
it becomes nuanced too, because there's one thing to have bad credit and like something happened to where you couldn't pay it, as opposed to you got bad credit
because you don't have good spending habits, right?
Ran up all your credit cards and maxed them out,
but did they do it?
Good steward over your money, and now you got bad credit. That's a big difference.
And that's even a conversation within itself too, because were you a teenager or early adult when you
predatory lending,
because you didn't,
know how it is when you go off to college?
Yeah, because you weren't educated and didn't have anybody to really teach you that financial literacy and made some bad decisions. Or are you 50 and 60 and you're still battling this? I mean, because of poor spending habits, so it's all kind of like
Robin Alford said, yes, he need good credit. I think that's what you said. Yeah, Robin said he need good credit. Okay, so I don't listen.
Or she could be saying, Robin, please tell me if I'm not. Is this Robin? We want to make sure we're not calling you wrong. Is this female Robin or male Robin? Because aren't there male Robins too?
There's male Robins too.
Okay, so I don't want to be calling Robin wrong. So Robin could also be saying, yes, she agrees or he agrees with
Yeah,
what we're
Robert,
saying.
we don't need, you got one of them names we don't know.
Depends on the age you are trying to date. I'm in my 40s and the questions are different from my teens. Yeah, see?
Exactly.
Female. Okay, Robin, thank you. Yes. So it is a she. So yes.
At this point you go, the credit is,
but that's what she's saying. You know how, like I was saying, it just depends.
It's a loaded question
on when you're talking about. Like if it's now, you know, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, and you're still having bad spending because you're not making wise choices, that is a different type of conversation than you're fresh out of high school. You got, you know, you're in college and you got people sending you all kind of credit cards and you're just excited to have a piece of plastic with your name on it, you know. So
that's different. Okay, now let's ask this question. Okay, would you date somebody who has been in prison?
And so you're asking me these questions, but it's like I can't really.
You can't relate.
I mean, I'm just saying, Jermaine, we, like you said, we have been together since the cave days, as you put it, with the dinosaurs crossing the street.
I didn't know that way.
Well, you did. You're like, now in the modern day. Anyway, so I really can't say what I would or wouldn't do. I mean, I think that there are people, I know of people who have successful marriages to where they did date someone in prison because maybe the person made a bad decision. But maybe they realized they're wrong and they repented and they changed while they were in prison. They got out and they led a successful life. So I don't, you know.
Would you date somebody whose height came to your waist?
What in the world? Get him off of here.
Throw that in there.
Get him off of here.
Throw that in there. Oh God!
Oh my goodness!
Oh gosh! Okay.
I prefer someone. I've always preferred someone taller than me.
You wouldn't be like, hey, look,
because I'm a tall. Yeah,
you wouldn't do that. Yeah,
I'm tall, so
she's shallow, y'all. She's shallow.
What?
I'm just joking.
Anyway,
no, for real. That's funny. I just had to throw that in there. That wasn't a real question. Okay, now listen. Would you marry someone that takes more selfies than you?
Are these serious questions? I think we need to move to the next topic because the people are getting tired.
No. This is what women nowadays have to deal with.
How many more questions are on this list?
There's just say after that. Let's say, there's one more after that.
Okay, because we need to move to the last topic.
Okay, yes. So
look, I'm tired, y'all. Too this time.
Would you date a dude? Would you date
it? I'm having fun.
This is what chicks have to deal with nowadays.
That takes more selfie. Okay, if these questions, you just make me think. Anyways, if the selfies are because he's so caught up in himself and he thinks he's prettier than I am, then maybe that's a problem. So if it's a sign, I guess I'll go there. If it's a sign of narcissism, then that's something I would have to consider. You know, but if he just enjoys taking pictures, selfies just for the memory, so he can look back and see his transition from his 20s to 30s and 30s to 40s, and it's more of a tracking memory maker, then you know, then
to outdo a woman with selfies takes a lot of effort. Okay?
Yeah.
So if we're just gonna go ahead and say it. Yeah, if he take more selfies than you,
consider.
That's a deal breaker.
You have to look at the intent. Is his job making him take selfies for his profile?
Ain't nobody trying to go through all. Ain't no job making him do it. If the dude is taking casual selfies more than you,
that he might be a little caught up in himself.
Yeah.
If he's taking more pictures of himself than he wants to take of me, then maybe that's something we need to converse about.
So we're gonna move to the last one.
Yeah, and Kyle, thank you. And I think that's what you're probably hearing a lot of my responses. That's why you hear my responses like, why are these questions? Like, are these really questions? He said the main thing is Christians shouldn't date unbelievers. So I think that's the heart of it, is really looking at the core of the person.
The core of a person. We're gonna get to that to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay, now listen.
All these other things can just change at a moment's notice, and it's just like,
the main thing, temporal. You shouldn't date unbelievers, but definitely you can deal with some believers that are caught up
that still have some of these ways too.
And
that's true.
I'm about to hit you with a doozy. This is the last one.
Oh goodness,
this is the last one.
Yes.
Would you date a person who struggles with same-sex attraction?
I can't see that for me happening. Yeah, because that's a little uncomfortable. like if we're around, you know, like if I might,
So you're saying I don't want to put forth energy and worrying about him around girls.
I just think I would rather
and have to worry about him around the plumber.
Well, it's just a little.
Plumber making house calls. I mean, I gotta wonder.
Some people may say, "Hey, I can deal with that," but I just think I would need full deliverance first before pursuing that. I mean, I'm just saying, for me, full deliverance would be.
What if he says he's fully delivered?
Well, if you say struggle, that's not. Yeah, maybe on the way too, but no.
Okay.
Don't throw out any more questions.
That's it.
Done.
That is it.
I'm done.
That's our rapid fire session.
Now look, y'all, because if he told me he was coming with these list of these types of questions, I promise I would have had my homework done. I would have had all kinds ready for you.
I know. I wanted to hit you. I wanted to hit you rapid fire. Rapid fire. That's why they call it rapid fire.
Oh my goodness.
We did that because you laughing. And you are flabbergasted.
I am. I'm like, what kind of questions are these?
This is the reality that the single woman is having to deal with.
Wow.
Dead, in jail, prison, same-sex attraction. This is what women are having to deal with.
Yeah.
Nowadays. And the dude thinks it's cool to lay up in the house and let his wife take care of him. Now, I'm not talking about a mutual agreement, and we're going to talk about that next week. Yeah. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to just be lazy, lounging around the house while my wife go get the bacon. You know what I'm saying? But we got cats out there think that that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think that's why I said we're spoiled.
Yeah.
We're spoiled because...
But what I want to say to that is I would hope to encourage someone and not lowering their standards though. Yes. You know, thinking that the pond is so few of fish that I have to keep what's a fish that people don't really want to eat? I don't know. You know, keep it just because it got on my hook.
The nasty goldfish. The goldfish. Nasty,
you wouldn't typically fry a goldfish. So yeah, that I have to keep that and take that home for dinner just because it got on my hook. Yeah. You know, like, no, if you're fishing for catfish, then, you know, and that's a whole nother topic because I've talked about how women shouldn't be fishing anyway, that the man finds. He that findeth the wife findeth the good thing and has favor. So, that's a whole nother. Did we do a whole video on that before?
We did.
Okay, so yeah, y'all have to check it out. But anyways, don't lower your standards. In my heart, you know, goes out, continue to pray for wisdom and discernment. Yeah. And, you know, for God to show you, is this the person that he would have you to be with to help develop? Because the person's not going to be perfect. But just think about the things that they are dealing with. Are you able to, if they were never to change, and of course you always hope for the best, but could you live with that? Don't go into it thinking, oh, well, I can change this, I can change that about this person. Only God can do the changing.
Exactly. The arts and crafts, they got stoves for that. All right. They got stoves for arts and crafts projects. All right. Don't make a person an arts and crafts project. So I just want to make sure we address the heart of that question. So Kiana, she asked, like I said, da-da-da-da-da. So did we address it? I believe we did. We did.
All righty. So I'm looking at this last topic here.
Yes.
And it's just to wrap that up. Like I said, overall, the person must complement your life. And, you know, you should want to move forward together and grow together.
Yeah, I keep it bouncing. I move the mountain. Man, waving these times.